Yo. Now, as many geeks may know, a couple of weeks ago, The Flash and Supergirl debuted a musical episode titled Duet. Musical episodes and shows can go one of two ways. Usually, sometimes they're well received, sometimes they're not. But it ultimately depends. I mean, with shows like Glee, that's entirely musical, so that's not going to be discussed here. But some musical episodes, they can be a fun break from the kind of serious pace. To allow other characters to be able to sing can make a show seem quite cool. But then again, it can be a little bit hit and miss scenario. So tonight I thought I'd go over 5 musical episodes that I personally remember from TV I've watched over the years. Now, there are going to be other ones that people may think are better, much better than this, such as the Scrubs musical episode and the Community musical episode. These are just 5 personal that I personally remember growing up and recent TV and stuff that I viewed. I've ranked them from 5 to 1. I'll leave some links down in the description for certain songs from the episodes just to give you a basic idea. But if you think that there are better musical episodes out there, and I'm almost certain there are, feel free to leave a comment down below commenting your favourite musical episode if you have one. You know, at number 5 on my list, this is one that I've only seen about once or twice when I was growing up, and it's the Even Stevens episode Influenza the Musical. This show was kind of gave a big TV stepping stone for Shia LaBeouf before he eventually entered the Hollywood decline that has included Indiana Jones 4 and the Transformers movies. I've nothing against Shia LaBeouf, but this was when he was still, relatively speaking, a teenager, and this musical episode certainly does well showing off everyone's skill. The episode essentially focuses around Shia LaBeouf's character's sister, Ren Stevens, as she struggles with a cold and then sneaks off to school in order to uphold her 100% attendance record. All the while within the world, she is trying to get a good mark for a history report about the 1969 moon landing, and her brother Lewis, played by Shia, is trying to find a way to get out of gym class. The episode, I'll admit, I only saw it once or twice, kind of growing up, but I think it's a fun episode. It's got a lot of good songs in there, showing the boys trying to avoid gym class and eventually rebelling against their coach, plus Ren's entire breakdown when she can't research her project. It's a fun episode that I think everyone should see at least once. Yeah, it's a good one to view, even if you just want to see a young Shia LaBeouf. Now, at number 4 on my list, once again, this is an episode that I personally saw a lot in reruns when I was growing up. It came from the TV show The Story of Tracy Beaker, and the episode is titled Life is a Cabaret. After an argument with her foster mother Cam about rules, Tracy slips into a nightmare where everyone at the care home where her friends are has kind of become placid and even break out into song. Now, this one, I'll admit, when I was growing up, I saw it quite a few times in reruns, and I think it's a good episode. I mean, it's only 15 minutes long, but they managed to cram 6 songs in there, and for some of the others that didn't manage to cram in so many songs, it's quite a feat. I mean, 6 songs in 15 minutes, that's about one song every 2.5 minutes. And that's a pretty impressive feat. The episode is pretty fun as well. And even though it's only 15 minutes, I think everyone should have at least one viewing of it. It was a very good episode. Now, third on my list is the Penguins of Madagascar episode Blowhole Strikes Back, also known as The Return of the Revenge of Dr. Blowhole, depending on where you want to go with it. But once again, it's pretty fun. The Skipper finds that he has his memory wiped by the Penguin's nemesis, Dolphin nemesis Dr. Blowhole, voiced by Neil Patrick Harris, and tries to figure out a way to get back home. Meanwhile, while at the zoo, Kowalski's experimental power cell, Julian's MP3 player, and Blowhole's Diabologizer curse get combined to form a demonic MP3 player that forces everybody to sing. Which, again, is quite fun. It's quite fun just seeing the animals all trying to cope with the fact that they now have to sing. And even, as we noticed before with shows like How I Met Your Mother, Harris sings incredibly well. And his voice, even when he's voicing a dolphin, it's quite nice. It's quite good to hear. And once again, it's an episode I think everyone should view at least once. Even if you just want to see the penguins from the Madagascar movies just doing what they do and just being agents, being everything they want to be. Once again, I think it's pretty fun. Now, number 2 on my list, it's the episode that just came out a few weeks ago, the Flash episode Duet. I mean, if in your shared universe, if 2 of your main characters, Barry Allen and Kara Zor-El, Supergirl, if the 2 of them are played by ex-Glee actors, how can you not have a musical episode somewhere in there? And to be honest, I think they did very well. I mean, I would have like everyone else, I would have preferred if they had a few more songs in there, but for about the 5 that we did get, I think it was pretty good. I mean, plus to me, having I can't remember his name in the minute, I'll probably look it up at some point, but having the guy from one of Grant Gustin's former co-stars playing the villain Music Meister, that I feel was a work of genius, purely because, from what I gather, Grant Gustin's character in Glee, he was always a little... Darren Criss, that's the name I was looking for. Grant Gustin's character was always kind of a little bit of a jerk, from what I gather, to Darren Criss's character, Blaine. And so it kind of, to me, felt like Darren Criss was kind of giving it a little bit of retribution, even if it was for the best. Even if the 2 characters are not related, it kind of felt right for just Darren Criss to just get his own back on Grant Gustin for all the years in Glee. The one thing I will say, though, about the villain is that at the end of it, you'll be left thinking, yeah, alright, you got your message across, but there are more subtle ways of doing so. You could have chosen a lot more subtle ways of doing so. But yeah, despite that the victim was a little bit over the... Not the victim, despite the fact Music Meister did things a little bit over the top. I mean, everyone sings very well in this episode. Victor Garber, John Barrowman, Melissa Benoist, Grant Gustin, Jesse L. Martin. Everyone sings well in this. And it's a really funny and fun episode to watch. And of course, number 1 on my list, it couldn't be anything else, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode Once More with Feeling. This one is looked on as the golden work, and frankly, I can see why. Just every song in there, it makes you feel good. I mean, but some of my personal favourites have been Going Through the Motions, Rest in Peace, and Walk Through the Fire. Those are my personal favourites from that episode. And frankly, it's a seminal work. No, everyone always tries to beat that one, and while Duet, I'll admit, came close, the fact that it had less songs than Once More with Feeling does kind of let it down a bit. So Duet slipped in second place, and Once More with Feeling remains on top. So yeah, people are going to have to work harder in order to beat that one. Anyway, I'll leave links down to the descriptions for some of the songs from the 5 episodes that I listed, in case you want to listen to them, make your own opinions. And see you next week.